Oh, I wanted the attendees to be able to, so they can't ask me questions.
Yes, I believe they'll be able to ask questions if they unmute themselves.
Okay, if they unmute themselves. Awesome. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. Apologize for being a little late. We had some technical difficulty. That does happen in this day and age. Um, my name is Pam McIlvain. I am with Diversity MBA Media. We are we have 3 core competencies. We have a publishing media organization. We have a research, the 3I Research Institute, and we have a learning solutions organization that blends our original content with what we have. So I know I wanted you all to have the capability to ask me questions as we go, because I just wanted to give you just a brief insights on the value of benchmarking with Diversity MBA Media. And we have a small group of attendees that joined, and we have some folks that participated in the index before. So definitely would love for people to be able to ask questions. So I did do a 1-page slide. I think we were having some challenges with the WebEx and loading it. But pretty much what I really wanted to talk to you about is share with you, what is the Inclusive Leadership Index? What is this tool that we developed over 15 years ago? So I don't know if I told you I was the CEO and publisher and founder of the index. So the index is intended to 15 years ago to understand how companies were actually developing, sourcing, and advancing talent within the organization, and how organizations were actually able to leverage their diversity, equity, and inclusion strategies to support talent acquisition and talent management initiatives, so that the outcomes that you wanted to have in terms of a diversified workforce and that mirrored your leadership would show up. And so we wanted to really just focus on the pipeline, the managers, the development of the talent, and the initiatives supporting that. So over the 15 years, what has evolved is we are able to not just look at your diversity, equity, and inclusion strategies and how effective they are, but also to how it aligns throughout your organization. And does that, is it making sense in terms of what your intention is? And so those have been, the initial reasons when we thought about doing this. So year over year, we would see what was happening in the marketplace. And based on what was going on in the marketplace, we wanted to determine, okay, so what are the things that we need to add? What are the types of questions we need to ask organizations every year so they can build upon their participation in our survey, so they can build upon what we're asking every year, what they need to know. And then the last bit of piece about the survey in terms of our methodology, it is a primary research index, so you have to participate in it. It has 7 sections within it, and the sections focus on, it is for multinationals as well as regional organizations. You really need just, anywhere from 800 to 1,000 employees to participate, because we know those are the size of companies that typically have some of the programs, or looking at to begin to have some of the programs that we're looking to have. So with that, we wanted to be able to create a tool that allows organizations to take a hard look at what they're doing. So how is the tool, let me just say how the tool today is primarily used. Two reasons. Companies look at it for ranking. So some companies actually participate because they want to be ranked as the best places to work for women and diverse managers. And it's a highly competitive survey for that purpose. But then companies participate because they just want to benchmark against other industries, against the whole marketplace, Sometimes there might only be customers that they have that they want to benchmark against the large organizations. So benchmarking is a huge part of what we do and how we've evolved. We can go into dimensions of benchmarking where we have 38 industries right now participating. We can go into 68 sub-industries. And what I mean by that, we could, for example, for healthcare, we can go into healthcare insurance, hospital systems, the large healthcare providers that provide both healthcare facilities, hospitals, and insurance. So we can break down some of those dimensions. There's pharma, medical devices, so healthcare is a pretty large industry from that perspective. So we can look at those levels of dimensions. And so the conversation I wanted to have and be able to answer some questions, why participate in the survey. So I will say for those of you that signed up for the webinar, I'll definitely make sure that my assistant research analyst, Jess, sends out an invitation for you to register to be a part of the, to look at the survey. Oh, Kendall, am I still here? Can folks still see me?
Yes, they can still see you.
Oh, okay, great. Somehow I can't see myself. The webcam did something. All right.
I believe I
I got,
believe you didn't
I got,
accept the view my screen prompt from GoToWebinar.
yep, I have it. Okay, so so there's questions that you want to ask yourself. I see we have a small group here. We have Rebecca. We did have a few more people that signed up, but right now in here we have Rebecca from Ogletree. And we have who's new with us. I'm just looking to see who's new on here. And we have Denise from Nielsen that's new on here that I can see on my list. We have there's James from UC Hospital. That would be new. And then I think the other folks, and we have one of our team members on here, Larissa, who's been a part, who's actually in her corporate life participated, managed these surveys. So I wanted to ask 3 questions. I want, you needed to know your why. I did build this slide out for you, so I'll share the slide with you afterwards. We're not sure why it won't load up in the system. But, so what, you could ask yourself why we're doing any surveys, why you should, I definitely want to talk about why you should do the diversity MBA benchmarking index, because it is fairly comprehensive and will provide some very specific things for you. But the first thing, you have to know your why, right? You have to be clear on what your why is and why you're doing benchmarking at all. And so most organizations they're looking at, oops, here we go. I think I can, should I just open this, Kendall?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, so it's looking for the slide. Fortunately, it's looking for the slide. If you can show it, that'd be great. I can't actually pull it down on my side. So I apologize to you for this. This is really intended to be a conversation, and we typically use Zoom, but we were trying this platform. I think we'll go back to Zoom for this kind of conversation. So so you need to know your why. So why are we participating? Why do we want to participate in benchmarking at all? And most organizations, they want to, once they get past, do we want to be recognized? That's an outcome of the success. But most organizations really want to understand, how are we doing against our competitors, and how are we doing in the marketplace as it relates to DE&I? What does that look like? So I'm actually opening this slide, and I want to know, can you let me know if everyone can see this? Can you see this?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. So unfortunately, it's
I can show the screen on my end. They just
oh,
won't be able to see your webcam.
okay. That's okay. It's okay. They can hear my voice. I would like for them to see this, or we can just send this over. That's fine. Because
Okay.
it's only the three questions that I'm really asking you guys. So ask and answer three questions, to really get yourself started. And that's what I'm talking about, is to know your why, understand the what, to move into the how. So that's really what I'm asking. And so we'll send this over to you, because it was just a one-page slide. So we apologize for that, this technology difficulty. So what I want to share with you now is go a little bit into understanding the what. So a lot of times, organizations, even though you say, okay, we want to benchmark because we want to see how we are. Let me also say, I don't want you to be afraid of participating in the survey, thinking that, oh my goodness, we're not going to be able to do well. We're not going to fare well in doing this. We haven't really, we haven't done this in a long time. So I'm afraid to participate in a survey like this. So we don't want that to happen. And organizations, people that participate, my webcam went blank. We're just having really fun challenges with this. So we don't want people to feel that, I don't want to participate in this survey because I want to be able to, sorry you guys. I hope you can still see me. Can people see me still, Kendall?
Yes.
Okay, great. If you guys can see me, that's great, because my technology is acting up. So let me just say, so I don't want you to feel that we have to be at a certain place in our organization, because you don't. We have organizations that participate in our index sometimes for the first 3 or 4 years before they even make the ranking at all. But what they do get is insights in the benchmarking. So what is it that you're doing? So what you need to be ready for is the reality that you might not have done a lot of work, or the work that you've done might not have made the level of impact that you wanted to have. So we look at the categories that we look at are, we look at representation and where you are today. And what's important about looking at where you are today is it gives you that understanding, and it's a deep dive. And it also helps you recognize how easy is it for us to gather information throughout our organization to complete these surveys. Is it something that I could just ask for and the information is readily available, or is it something we got to go dig for and find? Are we so decentralized that we don't even have a good picture and the right picture of what we're looking at? So that's the big piece of part of the data insights will do for you, is going to get your information, understanding what your what is, and actually recognizing where areas you have gaps. So we ask about how your organizational strategy is developed, or do you have one? We ask you about the alignment of your strategy within other functions. Are you actually doing that? And then we go in and we ask you about what you're doing with talent. We want to know, are you recruiting talent? We ask you every aspect around talent acquisition, in terms of, even we want information for baseline. And what baseline means, we ask for baseline research so that we can gather what the practice is. That later becomes the best practice, and we learn what becomes the leading practice. So, for example, we may say, tell us how you do this. And we won't measure you against it, rank you up for it, but we want to understand how you do it. And one of the big questions, for example, when pay equity became a large issue, I mean, one that with heightened awareness in the marketplace, we were asking companies, so we know you have a discrimination policy, but what are you doing around, to mitigate pay inequities that exist? Are you even aware that you have them? And if so, are you managing compensation bias? And are you doing equity audits? So, we ask the questions, tell us what you are doing. And then we're able to the following year to identify, how many companies are actually doing these things, and then what are the gaps in the process that they're doing, and then be able to identify, here are the best practices with trying to identify the inequities in the workplace. So we go at that level of depth in terms of wanting to know, what are you doing and how are you sourcing talent? We know more than 35,000 insights because we have more than several hundred companies participating year over year, where they participate with an average size of 35,000 employees for multinationals and an average size of 5,000 employees for regionals. But our smallest companies are at least 1,000 employees, which is enough to give you a roadmap in terms of what you're doing. So we also, we do look at succession planning, we look at workplace inclusion, we look at accountability. So we're asking the what on all these things, and what that does for you, it immediately tells you how difficult or easy it is for you to gather information. Also tell you who knows what, because you have to coordinate with all these different functions, with supplier diversity, with talent management, with talent acquisition, with the business functions that have accountability. So diversity, equity, inclusion is not just driving it, but also having these support functions to help them deliver it. And then, accountability is huge. We ask you, how are you achieving these things? So that's the big thing. You will find out, because we not only want to know the process that you're doing, the methods that you're taking, the practices that you're using. We want to know if you're using any measures for success. Have you identified what success looks like? What metrics do you have in place? Have you established key performance indicators known as KPIs? And then, are you achieving those? How are you aligning yourself to go back and to fill those gaps, to gap fill when you do identify that you've skipped, some areas, which is not a bad thing. It's a great thing to identify what you need. And then also the last piece is then the impact of what we've done. So we not only want to know what you're doing, how you're doing it, but we want to know how well you're doing it. And year over year, our index will add more questions to allow a company to be able to see how they have performed against the index, against your strategy, against what you've created. And so we as an organization, our survey is complimentary. We'll give a complimentary consultation, and then we have services, to go deeper. We do what we call an organizational scorecard. That is a major comprehensive roadmap as compared to the industry, as well as compared to the marketplace. Prior to, we have a Nielsen person here, Becca. Prior to the split of Nielsen used to participate in our benchmark. And a few years ago, they were the #1 company. So they did all that work, participated in our benchmark for years, and then became #1 by implementing all these things. And then when companies do acquisition other companies, or they break up, their they split, the company split, because of whatever reasons, you do sometimes have to start over. So I'm going to stop there and see, if we have any questions. Kendall, you said folks can just come off the mic.
Yes, if they go to their audio tab, they'll be able to unmute themselves to ask any questions that they would like to answer.
Okay, awesome. Anyone have any comments? Larissa, do you want to make any comments? Anyone would like to share, have any questions? Nope. Okay. So my email is pam@diversitymba magazine.com, pam@diversitymba magazine.com. So you could feel free to reach out to me. Because this is really just the 30 minutes. We're going to wrap up in a few moments. We'll email you the slide to answer the questions, but our index right now is open, and it closes May 30th. So it opened January 15th. So we keep it open for a long time, and it usually will take about, once you've done the coordination, people tell me it takes about, it takes about a week or so, dedicated and focused on the coordination. If you're doing surveys, you know what that means. And then, we do have a secure platform to where you can participate on. Okay, great. You're welcome, Denise. So we're going to wrap up. I only promised, 30 minutes, not to take your time. But so what's important? The biggest piece that a benchmarking survey would do, and what ours will do. Ours will absolutely give you a roadmap that aligns with your strategy. It will also help you answer and identify areas that have gaps in your organizations, and will be able, oh, thank you, Larissa, where you will be able to participate. What is new in our survey this year, we are asking the ES&G because we want to build out the diversity platform for that. So if you haven't done that work yet, that will be bringing forward to you. So please email me, or Denise and Rebecca, pam@diversitymba magazine.com. Those of you guys that are interested, we'll make sure we include you so that you can have the survey and look at it. Jess is available. She's around to answer any questions. In fact, I'll have her email everyone. And thank you for your time and participating. And I'm glad you all felt the information was useful. So we hope to have you participate. It's a good exercise in going through practically what your organization has and identifying some real gaps, because the biggest thing it's going to help you with too is making better decisions. And that's what this is all about, right? It's about getting better, identifying your successes, celebrating the milestones as you've achieved various levels of progress, and be able to continue to build on one year after the other. So thank you all for this time. I appreciate your sacrifice of time to be a part of this conversation. So have a great weekend coming up. This